Hey, I'm late for class again. What's up? It's the Culture Detective here, investigating your favorite TV shows. And today I'm going to very quickly go over my thoughts on House of the Dragon Season 2. Ooh. I finally finished watching it. I just finished watching the finale. I have a class in half an hour. I need to be as fast as I possibly can. So, House of the Dragon is the new HBO show, and it is an adaptation of the novel Fire and Blood, which is a spin off of the very amazing, very classic novel, A Song of Ice and Fire, written by George R. R. Martin. A Song of Ice and Fire is the novel that is adapted into Game of Thrones. So, to put it simply, House of the Dragons is a spin-off of Game of Thrones. It's very interesting because right after Game of Thrones season 8, suddenly HBO or whoever announced or leaked like 4 or 5 more Game of Thrones spin-offs and prequels and sequels, stories about Aegon the Conqueror, story about Dunk and Egg, story about this, story about that. And it's actually pretty interesting because how the hell are you going to do all of that stuff? But anyways, House of the Dragon is spearheaded by Ryan Condal and not David Benioff and DB Wise after how they have massacred my boy. And my boy being Game of Thrones. David Benioff and DB Wise completely ruined the last 2 seasons of Game of Thrones, not only because they have gone past the novels, but honestly, that's not even the main issue. I mean, there's so many scenes and storylines in season 5 and 6 that are not from the novels already. That's not the issue. The issue is that David Benioff and D.B. Wise seems like they stopped caring. Seasons 7 and 8 are both really short, and they're both full of ideas that are silly, convenient, and feel like they're written by a 12-year-old. So the spin-off House of the Dragon started with season 1 a couple years ago, and honestly, it is surprisingly good. A lot of people's expectations were low, but it was actually really good because after the extremely fast-paced and ridiculous story of season 8, it's like the writers at HBO had a knee-jerk reaction and decided to make House of the Dragons different by making it slow paced but also very character driven and psychological, not the epic explosion battle shit that Game of Thrones was. So that was a very interesting change of pace, and season 1 was not bad. I don't think it's great, but it's not bad. Now we have season 2 and people are complaining. So let's truth be told, episodes 1 to 4 actually not bad. I actually enjoyed episodes 1 to 4 quite a bit. Sure, it is a little slow paced, but who cares? I enjoy slow paced stuff from time to time. Maybe it's just me, but I think the first 4 episodes sees the writer's room at HBO follow a formula. It works. Where a bunch of things happen, we have Alicent Hightower, Team Green, at King's Landing fighting Rhaenyra Targaryen, Team Black, who is at Dragonstone. And they scheme, they're trying to do this, they're trying to do that. Episode 1 ends off with an assassination scene that is very riveting, very intense, very riveting, and I enjoyed it. Episode 2's ending scene is literally the same thing. It's also an assassination, but instead it's on the opposite side, where Sir Eric is forced to travel all the way to Dragonstone to assassinate Rhaenyra. And I'm not going to spoil what happens after that, but it sort of mirrors the ending of episode 1, but it sort of panned out completely differently, and that made that scene also incredibly interesting. Episode 3 was alright. Episode 4, the Red Dragon and the Gold, is fantastic, or A Dance of Dragons. It has like 2 titles. Episode 4 is fantastic, mainly because of its ending scene where we have a giant battle at Rook's Rest, the only battle of the season. And hey, 1 battle per season is enough. I mean, Game of Thrones do that too. 1 battle per season. That's enough. Episode 4 battle scene, exhilarating. There are so many unpredictable elements in that battle because at first it's just a bunch of soldiers led by Sir Kristen Cole towards Rook Rest to sack it and bend their knees and pled fealty to our rightful true king, Aegon. And yeah, that turned completely haywire because there are so many unpredictable elements in that battle. A dragon shows up out of nowhere, another dragon shows up out of nowhere, a third dragon shows up out of nowhere. There are death scenes we don't expect. It's very random as well. Like, we never expected this character would die, and then they die. We never expected the character from the other side would die, and then they die. And that is just classic Game of Thrones, and I very, very much enjoyed that. However, episode 5 onwards, the story started to become more and more bland. Now, again, a lot of people are complaining about the slow pace. I'm totally fine with slow pacing. I like slow pace. I like historical slow pace. It lets you sink in and absorb the environment. The issue is the characters. It's the characters. Because, wow, the characters are bland. In Game of Thrones, you have Tyrion, who is smart, witty, and incredibly likable. Arya, who you immediately root for since the ending of Season 1. And we have so many other very memorable characters in Game of Thrones. The Hound, Jaime Lannister is amazing. What do we have in House of the Dragons? Rhaenyra? Alicent? Daemon. So Daemon Targaryen, played by Matt Smith. He's supposed to be the rogue prince. He's supposed to be unpredictable and wild and bold. And yeah, he did something wild and bold on episode 1, but for the rest of the season, he does nothing. He does nothing. Aemond Targaryen, yes, is supposed to be unpredictable as well, but also he's so tame. Larys strong, Larys the Clubfoot, he's supposed to be the little finger of House of the Dragon. He's supposed to be the schemer. He's supposed to be psychotic because of what he did to his family back in season 1. He's not. In this season, he just becomes this straight-edged guy at the seat of the council. Yes, he whispers here and there, and he's smart, but like he just doesn't do anything. The only character that I liked is Oscar Tully, who only has 3 scenes in season 2, but he steals every scene, especially the scene where he had to settle a feud between House Bracken and House Blackwood in front of Daemon at Harrenhal. He's a young child, but he is a freaking boss. He totally steals it, and he's awesome, and I want to see more of him. See, that's the issue. Oscar Tully started off very meek, and he's young, but then he turned out to be very bossy and very capable of leadership and very smart as well. That is the subversion I'm looking for. Arya is small and young, but she has the spirit. That's why we root for Arya. Tyrion is bullied. Tyrion is funny, and nobody took him seriously, but turns out he is like a political mastermind. That's the subversion. There are no subversions in any of the other characters. Yeah, sure, Daemon is unpredictable. He's wild. We already established that back in Season 1. Season 2 offers nothing to his character. Same goes for Aemon, same goes for Larys, same goes for literally everyone in the story. And another thing is, like, everyone in House of the Dragon is stuck in the same war drama. And I know House of the Dragon is a war drama, but think about Game of Thrones. Tyrion is in a political thriller with a tinge of comedy. Arya is in an action-adventure, floating from place to place throughout Westeros and even Essos. Bran is doing his mythical fantasy thing up in the north, and Daenerys has her fantasy adventure. In House of the Dragon, everyone's stuck in the same story and the same war drama, and it's just same genre again and again and again. Another huge issue is that There's no intrigue and world building in House of the Dragon anymore. There's no, ooh, I wonder what medicine is right for this injury. There is no, ooh, so this is how you speak High Valyrian. So these are the things you say and this is what you do. There's no intrigue anymore. And yes, I know a lot of people watching this show has already come in contact with the Wall, the Vale, whatever, Dorne, Pentos, whatever, Old Town, I don't know. But where's the intrigue? Where's the curiosity? Where's the fun? Harrenhal is the only place that had an intrigue. I really like how broken and wet and rainy and haunted it is. It's very eerie the first time we see Harrenhal. But that's it. And then for three episodes straight, we have Daemon living in Harrenhal, and he just trips out. He just has these trippy dream sequences where he's seeing ghosts and he's hearing this and hearing that for 3 episodes. 1 episode of that is enough. 3, come on. There's also this Valerian daughter. I forgot her name. She's in the Vale with House Aaron, and she finds a dragon there. And for 2 episodes, she chases after that dragon for 2 episodes. Are there any other more interesting stories to tell other than this? Like, come on. Lady Mysaria was also interesting for a little bit in the beginning, but she just becomes less interesting because at first she's playing both sides. She's smart. She is lowborn from King's Landing, but it seems like she has more to her backstory. But at some point, she just completely bends the knee to Rhaenyra, which is a great thing. I'm happy to see that. But she just automatically becomes a flat character afterwards. And on episode 6, super low rated, by the way, doesn't deserve that much hate. But there's a scene where Rhaenyra and Lady Mysaria kisses, and that definitely pissed off a lot of anti-woke people. I'm totally fine with that. But the thing is, that kissing scene literally is pointless. There is no romance building up towards that scene, and after that scene, there's no follow-up. It's not like their romance continued to develop. That scene just happened, and that's it. It's pointless. I forgot to point out that it is very apparent that every single episode is written and directed by a different person, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. In fact, it had led to some interesting artistic choices, albeit very minute choices, like the close-ups on episode 2 looks really nice. Whoever directed episode 2 probably really likes these really close-ups. And then in contrast, on episode 3, suddenly the director had a knack for framing and composition. Another thing is, I actually like the slow pacing throughout episodes 1 to 4, partially because it reminds me of reading a history book, even though I don't read a lot of history books, but it just has that book quality to it. That said, the second half of the show still dragged on and on and on, and it just felt like they threw us on a loop, especially with what they did to Daemon. I think in season 2, the writers were trying to tease towards Daemon betraying Rhaenyra, but that never happened. So at first we're like, oh wait, will it happen? And then Daemon goes through all these trippy visions, and then he doesn't betray Rhaenyra at the end. So, like, we just went a whole loop with this character, and we went nowhere. So that's that. So, yeah, overall, while I enjoyed a good chunk of the first half of season 2, and I think that it still has a lot of potential, and then there's also the finale where it sort of builds up to nothing. There's like this crazy montage, and the music is super dramatic, and we have the House Stark theme, and then we have the House Lannister theme, blah 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 blah, and then it just builds up to nothing. So I don't know. they have become too unambitious with their writing, it seems. So yeah, I'm giving the House of the Dragon season 2 a strong 6 out of 10. So, have you watched House of the Dragon season 2? Comments below, let me know. So, I gotta do one more. Thanks for watching. I gotta go right now. Bye bye.